got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. It sucks when you finally feel like giving up. Oh God, no luck, everything feels like you're sticky stuck. I'm lost, handcuffed to the bed where I sleep, don't give a fuck. Can't stop, unplug, feeling overwhelmed, I think I've had enough. Gotta find a way to get some energy, gotta find someone who's a good friend of me. I need purpose to make it all worth it, I'm still searching and I'm still learning. I want a life that's filled with memories, not a life with regret in front of me. I need focus to keep me from hopeless psychosis if I keep moping. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. It sucks when you finally feel like giving up. Oh God, no luck. Everything feels like you're sticky stuck. I'm lost, handcuffed to the bed where I sleep. Don't give a fuck, can't stop. Unplug, feeling overwhelmed. I think I've had enough. Gotta find a way to get some energy. Gotta find someone who's a good friend of me. I need purpose to make it all worth it. I'm still searching and I'm still learning. I want a life that's filled with memories, not a life with regret and frenemies. I need focus to keep me from hopeless psychosis if I keep moping. I got nightmares in my head. I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head. I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I got nightmares in my head. I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety filling up every space, no privacy. And silently it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn, no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove. I got nightmares in my head. I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head. I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. It sucks when you finally feel like giving up. Oh God, no luck. Everything feels like you're sticky stuck. I'm lost, handcuffed to the bed where I sleep. Don't give a fuck, can't stop. Unplug, feeling overwhelmed. I think I've had enough. Gotta find a way to get some energy. Gotta find someone who's a good friend of me. I need purpose to make it all worth it. I'm still searching and I'm still learning. I want a life that's filled with memories, not a life with regret and frenemies. I need focus to keep me from hopeless psychosis if I keep moping. I got nightmares in my head. I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head. I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes...
Ya estamos por aquí. Bueno, muy buenas noches, rosenditos y rosenditas. Aquí en el consultorio en Twitch, el consultorio número 23, que trata hacia la entrevista con David GRUSCH, que es un ex-oficial norteamericano de las Fuerzas Aéreas de Pittsburg, Y bueno, denuncia la situación que él ha vivido, puesto que estaba en un grupo de investigación de los UFOs, ¿no? Los ovnis. Y habla de, pues, no sé, de 10 ovnis recuperados y demás. Y bueno, pues que es algo que ha denunciado él. También ha debido de salir otro oficial. Y la verdad que está muy interesante. Claro, es verdad, es mentira. Bueno, eso ya cada uno juzgará, ¿no? Pero bueno, si no, ya sabéis que podéis hacer consultas en directo por el chat. Y luego también se puede entrar en directo por el Discord. Que por cierto, si no lo he abierto. Un momento. Ya está. Os metéis en zona streaming consulterio o en charla general meditación. Me da igual. Vamos allá. Esto como era. Aquí. Pues vamos a proceder con la entrevista. Vamos a ver. Esto, si no me equivoco yo. Cago en la leche con. Ahora. Bueno, pues vamos allá, a ver qué os parece.
From a respected insider. Even if you
Si no se oye, decís.
NHI and UAP, how could such NHI travel to Earth in the first place and go undetected by the general public? GRUSCH says the craft may not be traveling through space as we understand it.
It is a well-established fact, at least mathematically and based on empirical observation and analysis, that there most likely are physical additional spatial dimensions. And you could imagine in 4 and 5D space where what we experience as linear time ends up being a physical dimension in higher dimensional space, where if you were living there, you could translate across what we perceive as a linear flow. So there is a possibility that, and this is a theory here, I'm not saying this is 100% the case, but it could be that this is not necessarily extraterrestrial, and it's actually coming from a higher dimensional physical space that might be co-located, right here.
What can you tell me about these craft?
Bueno, ahí dice que igual no tienen por qué ser extraterrestres como tal, sino otros universos paralelos, como incluso explica la física cuántica.
These technologies. Why do you know it's exotic?
Based on the very specific properties that I was briefed on, isotopic ratios that would have to be engineered for it to be at those levels, but also just extremely strange, heavy atomic metal, high up in the periodic table arrangements that we don't understand what the emergent properties are, but there's just a very strange mix of elements.
So you're absolutely sure that the materials that these craft are made of are clearly not of this Earth?
Yeah, they're sophisticatedly engineered, certainly not by humans.
And while GRUSCH says the US has
Dice que las naves esas no pueden estar construidas por el humano.
So much more could be done if academia and the private sector had access.
It's totally nuts that humanity as a whole, especially citizenry as a whole, they're not even benefiting from broad research on this to solve propulsion, energy issues, novel material science that can improve people's quality of life. It's just totally nuts how it's been protected and inhibits progress.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated information campaign targeting the US populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
Coming up, how long has this been going on?
A lot of the things I was briefed on were very shocking.
Meten anuncios estos americanos que les encanta. Vamos a ver.
You say it's a 90-year cover-up.
Just about, yeah.
90 years.
1933 was the first recovery in Europe, in Magenta, Italy. They recovered a partially intact vehicle.
It's long been known that the regime of dictator Benito Mussolini documented numerous UAP during this time. This internal memo from the Italian secret services includes crude drawings of the UAPs. It's true, it's real.
Yeah, that actually happened. Italian government moved it to a secure air base in Italy for the rest of kind of the fascist regime until 1944, 1945, and the Pope Pius XII back-channeled that.
So the Vatican was involved.
Yeah, and told the Americans what the Italians.
Y el Vaticano también lo sabe, según este, claro.
Let me be very clear about this. You're saying that the Catholic Church, the Vatican, they know about the existence of non-human intelligence on this planet.
Certainly.
GRUSCH says shortly after the dawn of the atomic age, another major crash recovery took place. You've probably heard of it. What can you tell me about the Roswell craft?
Fortunately, those details were not approved for me to talk about right now.
This much we know. In 1947, an object crashed in the New Mexico desert near the town of Roswell. The Air Force recovered material described as metallic and rubbery, though the government changed its story as to what it was, calling it a flying disc at first, then a weather or spy balloon. It just read ridiculous to me that the US Air Force had changed its story.
Yeah, and they added additional elements over time and tried to conflate additional programs to explain some of the events.
Why are these things crashing?
Yeah, some are landed, some are crashed, and I think that's an interesting discussion that's come up, as advanced as, we are, as humans, right? Planes crash, cars crash. Just because you're some advanced sentience that has advanced technology doesn't mean some small percentage of your, I'll use the Air Force term like sorties, meet an unfortunate operational conclusion, as we might want to say.
Most people would tell you the Roswell incident has been thoroughly debunked. In fact, the Air Force published this report in 1994 to put the issue to rest once and for all. GRUSCH has read it.
That analysis they did was a total hack job, and even anybody with analytical skills, if you read it, you can deduce that they're conflating multiple situations with crash test dummies and mogul balloons, and they're just saying that the townsfolk who personally witnessed it were totally imagining things. They concocted that whole report just to disinform.
So the reason for the secrecy is what?
Feudalistic dominance, who can have both asymmetric technology for, it seems like, just fueling the war machine.
GRUSCH says that through the 50s and 60s, encounters with the NHI continued, as did the cover-up. One incident in 1967, about which multiple Air Force veterans have gone public, involved UAPs tampering with the nuclear missiles at Malmstrom Air Base in Montana. They saw a craft, appearing to be intelligently controlled, hovered over a nuclear weapons silo and shut down 10 nuclear ICBM missiles.
It certainly looks like they want to understand.
Es que, claro, aquí dice que hubo unos objetos voladores no identificados encima de los misiles y los desactivaron.
How far we've advanced in our nuclear fizzle kind of technologies at the very least. I mean, it looks like preparatory probing activity. It might be innocent kind of scientific gathering, could be ISR probing.
Meanwhile, GRUSCH says the crash retrieval program continued. And while he won't reveal where the downed craft are stored, he does say that the people working with the technology have been putting themselves at risk.
You know, a lot of them, were injured looking at some of this stuff. You can imagine the nuclear, radiological, and biological risk to looking at an unknown, and a lot of them have literally suffered physically because of their service.
But as we know, anyone who's come forward claiming non-human intelligence is behind these incidents has been dismissed as delusional or deliberately deceitful. If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
Coming up,
It's 120 miles to the west.
new evidence and perhaps new attitudes in a new age of UAPs.
The American people need and deserve to know more.
Has the US government changed its tune?
What do you guys think came first, the chicken or the baby back rib?
Baby back ribs.
Chicken tenders all the way.
Anuncios otra vez.
Baby back ribs. Baby back ribs. Baby back.
Chicken tenders.
On second thought, it really depends which side of the buffet you start on.
Want luxury hair repair that doesn't cost $50?
These are the videos that started it all. Footage captured by
qué velocidad.
aviators on military-grade cameras that defied all prosaic explanation. Dave Grusch has investigated this one, shot in 2015 off the East Coast by fighter pilots from the USS Theodore Roosevelt. There's an industry of debunkers out there on the web who say, oh, they've got this all wrong. It's a jet exhaust at a distance and the aircraft's turning. Give me an answer on that.
Well, I had some optical engineering experts look at that and the Raytheon AT FLIR system based on the pixel saturation and apparent size. It's certainly something that's not a jet. It might be some kind of natural phenomenon that's quite strange, but it's not as simple as a jet.
He has even stronger opinions about this UAP, now known to history as the Tic Tac, shot in 2004 in the Pacific by aviators off the USS Nimitz. And the Tic Tac?
Truly anomalous, absolutely technical vehicle, physical, and that's absolutely something that we didn't make.
Not of this world.
Most likely, yeah.
The videos were leaked in 2017, then officially released by the Pentagon in 2020. At the time, it seemed the Pentagon may have finally abandoned its obsession with secrecy and decided to do what other countries have been doing for decades: establish a properly funded, publicly accountable team to investigate reports of UAP. Dave Grusch was part of that team.
This is a hunt mission for what might somebody be doing in our backyard that we don't know about.
The task force set about investigating these incidents, including more recent events like the odd encounters that took place during naval exercises in 2019 off the coast of San Diego. This video, shot on the USS Omaha and later leaked to documentarian Jeremy Corbell, has received particular attention. It either zooms off so fast you can't see it or it sinks into the ocean, but it seems to drop. What do you know about it?
It was truly anomalous.
But Grusch says the promised new age of government transparency is a fallacy. For starters, he says the videos that have been released are just the tip of the iceberg.
There are many videos that are totally fair to release through a declassification process. And I find it very concerning from a transparency perspective that all that the department has declassified were those 3 famous videos. There are more concerning videos that left me with a lot of questions, yeah.
He says there are credible witnesses who could testify to Congress about spacecraft, big spacecraft.
A lot of them were very large, yeah. Like a football field kind of size. And I remember interviewing these people.
Fíjate que era como un campo de fútbol.
Either these people are lying to me, they're having a psychotic break, or this is some crazy but true stuff that's happening, and I have no good explanation that's prosaic at all for this, because This is not explainable by, swamp gas, St. Elmo's fire, ball lightning, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is like tangible technical craft they're seeing up close and personal in some cases when I interview people.
And at the centre of it all, the crash retrieval program the government has never publicly acknowledged. A program, GRUSCH says, that's included at least one private aerospace company that is storing alien craft. Is that true?
That is how a lot of these relationships are. While I don't want to name the specific companies and government elements, but overall, the government has been the custodian of a lot of this, right? And they'll hand receipt it out to a cleared defense contractor to do some analysis, which I find highly unethical. You have basically a sole source arrangement, and you allow certain private corporate elements to look at this, develop a potential insight, and then sell it back to the government for profit. And I think that's totally unethical.
The problem you've got is there have been categorical denials from high-level officials in the US government, even presidents, that what you're saying is true.
Unfortunately, some elected officials were not brought in.
Only a few weeks ago, 19th of April, the head of the Pentagon's UAP investigations program, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, told Congress AARO, that's the Pentagon's UFO investigation body, has found no credible evidence thus far of extraterrestrial activity, off-world technology, or objects that defy the known laws of physics.
While a large number of cases in our holdings remain technically unresolved, this is primarily due to a lack of data associated with those cases.
Was that a lie?
Well, I know Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. I've known him for about 8 years, and I expressed some concerns.
Bueno, pues si siempre han mentido, me seguirán, claro.
When I was starting to uncover, and he didn't follow up with me. And he has my phone number. He could have called me. I hope he ultimately does the right thing. He should be able to make the same investigative discoveries I did. It's totally crazy if he doesn't.
So the implication here is that the head of the very body that Congress has ordered to tell the American public the truth about UAPs is possibly misleading the American public. Do you think the American public is being lied to?
Well, they've been lied to over the years, and I'm hoping that the lies stop.
Coming up, it gets even scarier. The UFO whistleblower says the NHIs aren't all friendly. Have human beings been hurt or killed by a non-human intelligence? And guess who they might be working with?
We're in a competition with their adversaries to understand this, and it's a multi-decade Cold War that has been under our nose for so long.
Más publicidad.
Brian Ensign hosts a live wrap-up right after the special report with exclusive behind-the-scenes insight from the interview. Skeptic or believer, we have multiple expert panels covering every angle next on News Nation.
In the movies, the aliens are often portrayed as peaceful, even cuddling. It would be nice if that were true, but Mr. GRUSCH says it's not. The common interpretation from some commentators is that there is a non-human species and it's incredibly benevolently well disposed to the human race.
Yeah, and I think that is the logical fallacy there is because they're advanced, they're kind. We'll never really understand full intent in that because we're not them, whatever them is. Or are, but I think what appears to be malevolent activity has happened based on not only nuclear site probing activities, witness testimony. I think at least if we look at it through a humanistic lens, it does appear negative, at least to us.
I've been told that there have been attempts to bring down craft. that we've acted offensively against non-human craft?
There have been instances, and there are certain techniques.
Have human beings been hurt or killed by a non-human intelligence?
While I can't get into the specifics because that would reveal certain U.S. classified operations, I was briefed by a few individuals on the program that there were malevolent events like that. Yeah.
Now I'm scared. People have just heard you say non-humans may well have murdered human beings.
That seems to be the case at one point, yeah.
And there's more. GRUSCH says the United States is not the only country that's encountered NHI and their technology. He says our geopolitical rivals have their own crash retrieval programs, which they are also secretly exploiting for military purposes.
We're in a competition with
OVNIs que se estrellan, ¿no?
This, and it's a multi-decade Cold War that has been under our nose for so long, and you know, there is no good way to level the playing field and hold other nation states accountable if they're doing unethical or illicit activity as it relates to this subject. And I think the obtuse secrecy is actually putting us in a very dangerous position where a country might make a breakthrough. Let's say it's an adversary of ours, and it is so destabilizing.
You say there's been a Cold War behind the scenes with Russia and China.
There has been a Cold War with our peer adversaries, yeah.
Why hasn't Russia or China come out and spoken publicly about this?
I think they're in a similar, pickle as us, where it's they understand maybe some of the socioeconomic destabilization factors in their own society.
But if this non-human intelligence is so advanced, and at least some of them are malevolent, why haven't they destroyed us already? Perhaps some fragile yet combustible détente has been reached. GRUSCH has written an internal document about his discoveries that refers to agreements that risk putting our future in jeopardy. And it's quite clear that you're talking about agreements between America and non-human intelligences. Have we made agreements with non-human intelligences?
That's the kind of information I really hope national leadership is able to get to the bottom of.
I need to pin you down on this. Are there agreements between non-human intelligences and the American government?
I think that's a question that I would like to know all the details of as well.
We do know of at least one agreement among humans.
Que le gustaría saber todos los detalles, pero vamos, que algo sabrá.
Agreement between the US
O eso dice,
and
claro.
the USSR on measures to reduce the risk of nuclear war. Whether or not you believe Dave GRUSCH, this document proves the two superpowers were aware that UAP existed, whatever they were.
If you look at Article 3 of that treaty, it talks about unidentified objects near nuclear facilities or interfering with communications. And that is a treaty that has been used, from what I understand, to notify each other if there's a concerning event.
And that's a way of saying to the Russians, hey, don't shoot at us, it's not us.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a concern because of the secrecy. There is an environment where you could have almost like a false flag, where true non-prosaic UAP situation could be contrived as a provocation of something from a nation state, and we want to de-escalate that.
If this is true, if the stakes are so high, if the fate of the human race is at stake, perhaps it's no surprise to hear GRUSCH say the US government will do anything to keep these secrets safe. Can I put it to you that crimes must have been committed?
At the very least, I saw substantive evidence that white-collar crime was committed.
Have people been killed to protect this secret?
Based on the people I talked to, that was an ongoing concern. Yeah, unfortunately, I've heard some really un-American things I don't want to repeat right now.
So you have a strong suspicion that people have been murdered to protect the secret?
Over the years, yeah.
Coming up, A reality check.
Is it possible that you're deluding yourself?
It's time to put our whistleblower's credibility to the test.
Everybody watching this right now is looking at your face. They're going, is this guy for real?
No, porque a ver si va a ser un resentido. Renuncias otra vez.
Let's talk about what Dave GRUSCH doesn't have. He doesn't have smoking gun documents or photos. He doesn't have official confirmation of his claims. He's just a guy talking on camera, and a lot of his answers to our most pointed questions sound like this.
Can you comment?
Unfortunately, I cannot.
So who is this guy really?
I don't want fame or fortune. I'm just here to provide public leadership on an issue that I uncovered, and I thought it was totally outrageous.
News Nation has confirmed through multiple sources that Dave GRUSCH is who he says he is, an Air Force veteran from Pittsburgh who worked in military intelligence and was part of the UAP task force. Maybe he's just a confident, well-spoken ex-military intelligence officer who just happens to have lost his mind.
Do you have any kind of mental illness?
No.
Have you ever had a psychosis, a delusion?
No.
Is there anything in your medical history that might be capable of being interpreted as a reason why you might be confabulating, making things up?
No, I'm not a disgruntled employee. I resigned on my own accord because I thought altruistically it's more appropriate to show thought leadership on the outside on this now, because I hit an impasse within the government to try to right this wrong.
So I've got to be blunt about this. Yeah. You're not making this up. This is not a lie.
No, absolutely not.
Because everybody watching this right now is looking at your face. They're going, is this guy for real?
Del estadounidense, que son muy populistas. Oh, pero de verdad no mientes, no, hombre, ¿qué va a decir él? Te jode.
Obvious professional risk by talking to you today.
You've told us that we really are not alone. Even though you believe what you say is true, you haven't been fed disinformation. It's a common thing in intelligence for governments to mislead.
Yeah, I was very sensitive to that fact. Was this some kind of ruse against me? Am I being used in any kind of way? And I took about 4 years being very methodical before I filed my whistleblower complaint to be absolutely certain of these basic facts.
So take me through the process of how you convinced yourself that this is real.
Well, based on the credential people that came to me, some of these subjects provided me sensitive foreign intelligence to read, sensitive program documents and photographs to evaluate, and then described in very specific detail how all this worked. And they were telling me the exact, extremely specific details that it all checked out. Yeah.
You know, the thing I have trouble with, it's the fact that
my
experience as a journalist is, it's very hard for governments to keep secrets. Most things leak. Your government leaks like a sieve. Why hasn't this leaked?
Well, I've certainly been the recipient of a lot of U.S. government secrets, and I can tell you they've never seen the light of day. That's for sure. And I guess ostensibly this has leaked like a sieve for decades, but it was a very sophisticated disinformation campaign where they have allowed some of the truth to come out through some of their trade crafts, but they've disenfranchised people, they've stigmatized it, they made it like this total wacky thing to talk about. So anybody who may come forward with that kind of information is looked like a total tinfoil hat guy, because it's a perfect amalgamation of disinformation to just make it look crazy.
The best reason to believe Dave GRUSCH may be this document.
Están todos locos.
Remember that whistleblower complaint he filed? It would seem it hasn't fallen on deaf ears.
So the Inspector General of the Intelligence Services of the United States has the information you've got.
Yes.
And more importantly, the Inspector General made a determination about the credibility of your complaint?
They found, after interviewing myself and the subjects and other subjects that I'm not even cognizant on who they were, they found my complaint urgent and credible for the intelligence committees.
The word credible is important, you appreciate. So an official investigatory body of the United States government has determined that your allegations are credible.
Correct.
Coming up, if it is true,
Bueno, eso ya es algo.
what are we going to do if the biggest secret on the planet is now out in the open? And what are they going to do?
How will the non-human intelligence react?
Vaya, ya vamos otra vez con los anuncios. Bueno, pues ya vamos con la última parte. ¿Sí?
This is one of the gravest constitutional crises for your country ever.
Absolutely.
Give me some hope here.
Yeah.
There are good people.
There are very good people, and I want that message to be crystal clear. Let's not demonize holistically the U.S. government. There's a whole army of people that want change. I am one of tens, if not hundreds, of individuals within the government on these programs that would like a change.
What kind of change does David Grusch want? As he's said here tonight, he wants the NHI technology to be shared so the rest of the world can benefit from it.
And I use nuclear weapons or nuclear physics as an example. It's an acknowledged program. We have nuclear weapons. You don't get to know the designs, but nuclear physics holistically is unclassified. Academia studies it. And why would you suppress basic astrophysics, astrobiology, other hard and soft sciences broadly? It's totally nuts.
Grusch has left the government. He wasn't part of ARO during the most recent congressional hearings when still more UAP were revealed, including this one captured by a drone in the Middle East in 2022.
There it goes.
His whistleblower case will take months to conclude. In the meantime, he says he's starting a scientific foundation. And he's willing to speak to anyone in Washington who has the clearance and the desire to hear the classified information he could not share here.
Hombre, órdago ha echado. Desde luego que órdago echa.
Who was a recipient of my complaints. I'm happy to further brief elected officials on the specific ecosystem of secrecy down to the fine details.
Whoever they are. How will the non-human intelligence react to the revelation that human beings now know they're here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the non-human intelligences have been around for a while, at least multiple decades in modern history, and they've allowed ourselves to annihilate ourselves, genocide, war, famine, etc. So at the very least, I think they're kind of neutral on what humans decide to do with their free will.
And as for how we, the human race, will react to his story, here Grusch evinces that quintessentially human characteristic, optimism.
I don't have this utopian ideology that this is going to, solve world problems, stop war entirely. But all I want is a moment of pause and to see if the subject unites us as we've obviously become more divided over the last couple decades.
Because, if anything else, what you're revealing may mean we all start thinking of ourselves not as American, Australian, Russian, Chinese, but as human.
Human family, I
Qué
think
bonito.
that's totally the right
La parte emotiva de la entrevista.
Wow. Okay, so now we are going to attempt to process this
Y hasta aquí la entrevista.
together. Hey everybody, I'm Brian Enton. I'm live at the News Nation headquarters in Chicago. Whether you are a UFO believer, a skeptic, or someone somewhere in the middle, which I think is most of us, we know that that conversation with the UFO whistleblower, it was a lot.
Hala, ahí queda. Bueno. Pues no sé qué os ha parecido. La verdad que a mí me parece un tema muy interesante. Pues que porque... Ahora no, a ver si me pone para arriba. Bueno, pues eso. Espero que os haya gustado. Me parece un tema interesante, cuanto menos, ¿no? Esto de los ovnis y que salga un ex-oficial de la Fuerza Aérea de Pittsburg, de Estados Unidos, y que denuncie ante inteligencia internamente. Y bueno, pues que digan que, bueno, pues que hay argumentación, ¿no? Hay posibilidades sobre lo que denuncia, de que sea cierto. Pero claro, habrá mucho secretismo con esto, lógicamente. Esto de los ovnis y todo eso. Pero bueno, puede ser un punto de inflexión, porque si hay mucha presión pública y bueno, pues yo quizás nos muestren un día los ovnis estos recuperados, si es que existen, claro. No lo sé. Pero como digo, muy interesante, ¿eh? Así que nada más, esto era la base de presentación del programa de hoy y si no hay ninguna consulta más, pues lo dejaremos aquí, ¿eh? Así que bueno, nada más, como digo. Que tengáis una feliz semana. Mañana jugaremos al Valheim a las 18 horas con Membrillo TV, Guardia 58 y de Crazy Koala. Echaremos unas cuantas horas, que está la aventura muy interesante con los vikingos. Y no os olvidéis que, bueno, ya está puesta la fecha. El día domingo 23 de junio. No, perdón. 25, perdón. Que siga, el domingo 25 de junio. La hora seguramente sea a las 21 horas. Vamos, al 95%. Pero bueno, lo anunciaremos de todas maneras. La confesión de Eleuterio, que soy yo, de por qué llevo aquí más de 7 años encerrado, casi 8. Así que nada, un fuerte abrazo a todos, rosenditos y rosenditas. Fuerza y coraje, amigos. Fuerza y coraje, es muy importante. No sé ni si esto. Bueno, dicho, un fuerte abrazo.